Greetings and salutations. My name is Michael Schwahn, and we're going to talk about some games that you might have missed in July of 2023. Because July was a lot lighter month, right? So in June we had things like Diablo and Street Fighter and Final Fantasy. And not that we had bad releases in comparison in July, it just definitely wasn't on the same scale. We had like Legend of Heroes Trails in a Reverie, we had Exoprimal, we had Pikmin 4. Like, we had good games, but they definitely weren't the juggernauts that we saw in June or prior months. But there are still a lot of games that come out all the time, and I got 10 more games for you that came out in July of 2023 that you might have missed or might otherwise be interested in. So let's check them out. We're going to open things up with Gylt. Shape your fears, fear the shapes. Embark on a journey where you face your worst fears and are confronted with the emotional impact of your actions in this narrative adventure game with puzzles, stealth, and action. This released on July 6, 2023 to a very positive reception, with 97% of the current 147 user reviews being positive. It is going to run you $20. Now, this game might also seem a little bit familiar if you're sitting there going, I feel like I've seen this before. You might have, because it escaped the grave. This game was originally an exclusive to the Google Stadia and was just ported over to other systems, now being available again after the death of the Google Stadia. Next up, we have Oxenfree 2: Lost Signals. 5 years after the events of Oxenfree, Riley returns to her hometown of Kamena to investigate mysterious radio signals. What she finds is more than she bargained for. This released on July 12th to a very positive reception, with 92% of the current 658 user reviews being positive. This is a thriller, supernatural, adventure, mystery, story-rich exploration game, and it's going to run you $20. Now, I don't know how important it will be for you to play the previous game, but it does sound like with the way that things are set, there might be some references to the first game, but otherwise you should be able to jump in right now. And interestingly enough, it is published by Netflix. Allow me to introduce you to Gravity Circuit. Gravity Circuit is a flashy, action-packed 2D platformer in the spirit of console classics. Follow Kai, a lone operative war hero who harnesses the mysterious powers of the Gravity Circuit, on an adventure in a futuristic world inhabited by sentient robots. This released on July 13th to an overwhelmingly positive reception, with 97% of the current 605 users' reviews being positive. This is an actually indie 2D platformer with pixel graphics. It is definitely meant to bring some Mega Man vibes into the modern age. I do know that there are some modern game designs in mind here, so if you wanted to try and get an idea of what a Mega Man game might look like if it was designed and released in 2023, this is what you're going to be looking for. It is going to run you $16.99 if you are so interested, and once again, that is Gravity Circuit. Now for the most confusing recent release I have seen, this is Dragon Quest Treasures. Eric and his sister Mia dream of the day they can explore the world. One night they encounter a pair of otherworldly creatures, Porcus and Persula, and are whisked away to Draconia, a land of treasures just waiting to be discovered. This was released on July 14th to a very positive reception, with 80% of the existing 70 user reviews being positive. It is an action party-based RPG with hidden object elements, and if that sounds weird, you're starting to understand why. But first, this game is also $50, which might be why there is only 70 user reviews for a Dragon Quest game. Now again, if this seems familiar, it's because it was available previously. It was exclusive to the Nintendo Switch and released late 2022, but it's not Dragon Quest Monsters, which is like a Pokemon style game that released separately. This is like an action exploration game, and it just doesn't feel like it is a game that really anyone asked for, or that it fills any niche that anyone wants. And even as a game that is meant to be kind of a backstory to one of the main party members, Eric from Dragon Quest XI, as well as his sister Mia, which has a very important side quest in the game, I don't feel like it fills that need either. But if you want to try out something a little weird and a little different, Dragon Quest Treasures. Are you feeling that strategy itch since it's been a while since we had an XCOM game? This is Xenonauts 2. Wage a global war of resistance against an alien invasion. Command turn-based tactical battles, build a network of covert bases, directly control your fighter wings, and achieve strategic victory in a simulation of asymmetric warfare against a technologically superior foe. This released on July 17th to mostly positive reviews, with 75% of the 562 user reviews being positive. This is an early access, and it is going to run you $40, so just keep in mind that this isn't a low point of entry. But if you are familiar with Xenonauts, then that franchise has unfortunately been locked in rights and development issues for a very long time, and has finally been released and is now free for a new entry in the franchise. And if you're not familiar with Xenonauts, the closest comparison I can give you is XCOM, where you have this world map that you're trying to get around, and you're trying to build a base and train up units and research new equipment, research your enemy, and just really build up your forces and your strength so that you can push forward. But you still do run the risk of losing the people that you are utilizing in your war games. So that's Xenonauts 2. This is Starsiege Deadzone. Starsiege Deadzone is a corridor extraction shooter set in the far reaches of space. Delve into derelict space stations overrun by hostile cybrids in search of valuable resources. Group up with 2 squad mates, fight against other raiders, and escape alive. This released on July 18th and currently has a mixed reception, with 69% of the 703 user reviews being positive. This game is free to play, so no barrier of entry, and the best comparison I can give you is if you were fortunate enough to experience Dark and Darker recently in terms of a corridor dungeon delving extraction game, this is Dark and Darker in space with guns. I have played this one myself. It is very enjoyable. It does have a couple of things that are rough around the edges, and in terms of the mixed reviews, most of them are people complaining that they got steamrolled by people who are just better than them. But it's free. I do recommend giving it a try if you like extraction shooters like Escape from Tarkov or Hunt Showdown, but do understand the general gameplay loop is much closer to Dark and Darker than it is those other games. When it comes to games that I barely understand how they can exist, this is Viewfinder. Challenge perception, redefine reality, and reshape the world around you with an instant camera. Viewfinder is a new single-player game offering gamers hours of interesting and fun experiences while uncovering the mysteries left behind. It released on July 18th to a very positive reception, with 91% of the 1,272 reviews being positive. It is a first-person puzzle platformer, and it's going to run you $25. I don't know how the programming in this game works, but the fact that you're able to take snapshots of a 3D environment and carve it and place it into an already existing 3D environment, it's really impressive. I can only imagine what the back end for this game must look like. It's super cool, and it looks like it could be a pretty chill experience. So if that sounds like something up your alley, check out Viewfinder. I'll take games that I didn't technically know were released for 500, Alex. This is Eternal Return. So if that sounds familiar, it's because it initially launched a while ago, like 3 years ago, as Eternal Return Black Survival, although they have now dropped that affix at the end. Eternal Return 1.0 is a free-to-play 2.5D perspective battle royale game. Search, craft, hunt, and fight using a variety of characters. Plan your strategy and become the last survivor on this eternal experiment. The original release was on October 13th of 2020, but it did release into 1.0 in the middle of July of 2023. Overall, it has mostly positive reception, with 78% of the 46,938 user reviews being positive. More recent reviews is a mixed reception, with 60% of the 1,162 reviews being positive. The mixed reception is mostly because they took away a solo queue option, so you have to queue into a group with friends or in randos. I have played this one. The easiest way to summarize this game is, what if League of Legends was a battle royale game? And I mean that in the most literal sense. It's really interesting. It's trying to do some very unique things, but it's definitely not going to be for everybody, but it's free. So if you want to try a battle royale version of League of Legends with an even heavier anime aesthetic, give Eternal Return a try. This is Nobunaga's Ambition Awakening, and they gave me a lot to work with on the read here. Conquer warring states Japan under one banner. That's it. That's all I got. So now this was available for about a year, but it was Japanese only. It released on July 19th of 2022. It released on July 19th or 20th of 2023 with an English localization option available. In terms of overall reviews, and this will include the reviews out of Japan, it is mostly positive with 71% of the 1,268 user reviews being positive. Since the English part has released, it is now sitting at a mixed review with 53% of the 115 user reviews being positive. Those mixed reviews are primarily complaints to do with the AI that's in the game, thinking it's dumb, ineffective, doesn't work very well, etc. But now, what is this game? This is a real-time tactics war game, immersive sim, grand strategy, 4K. This is Civilization, but if it had a strict focus on Japan rather than on a worldwide, and focusing mostly just around the conquest and story of Oda Nobunaga rather than the continuation of humanity from caveman to, you know, going into space. This game is $60, so it's a pretty steep price when it comes to getting into a brand new franchise. Now, Nobunaga's Ambition has been around for 40 years, so it's got a lot of history that it has available for you. They've been making these games for a really, really long time, but the vast majority of them never got any type of localization. They never made it to the West. They never got English put in them. So now we're starting to see this game and these franchises find their way over to the West, and we'll see how it goes. I mean, we do have a lot of people that are already really invested into some other 4K grand strategy games like the aforementioned Civilization or games in space like Stellaris. But if neither of those games are your jam, or you just want to try another one, or if you want to try your first grand strategy game, maybe consider Nobunaga's Ambition Awakening. Hey look, it's Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. Now if you're like, wait a minute, you're supposed to be showing me games that I don't know, that aren't like big name games. Alright, now hear me out, okay? This game is released on PC, alright? And I don't feel like Sony or Insomniac did anything to try to advertise this game coming to PC. Released on July 26th, and there's not a whole lot of reviews at this point because there's not a lot of marketing and it's very recently released, but it was very, very well received when it came to the PlayStation 5 exclusive release that was back in 2021. Now, what is Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart? So blast your way through an interdimensional adventure with Ratchet and Clank, now on PC. Help them take on an evil emperor from another reality as you jump between action-packed worlds and beyond at hyperspeed. This is a third-person platformer. It's also a third-person shooter, and it is going to run you that full price of $60 because it is a AAA game, and Sony does not release their games onto PC at a lower price point. There's been a lot of positive reception around this game in the way that it utilizes faster drives with SSDs, although one is not required for this, just strongly recommended, in order for you to be able to bounce between worlds without any type of loading time. I haven't unfortunately got a chance to try this, but I have only heard good things, as I've already said a couple of times. And so if you didn't have a PlayStation 5 or you still aren't able to grab one, but you do have a PC, here you go, Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. So tell me, what'd you think? Is there anything that I missed? Something that you saw that released this month that you're like, why didn't you talk about that one? How dare you? Now, there is going to be a lot more busier months coming up. August is jam-packed with notable releases, and so is September. And by the time we get through those, we're going to start seeing the October, November, and December games as everyone just tries to pile games into the end of the year so that we can get our Christmas shopping done. But July was a short reprieve, but only a short one. So let me know what you thought of these 10 games. Well, let me know what you've been playing. Let me know what you're looking forward to playing. I'd love to hear from you. Put all that down in the comments below. If you want to keep up the conversation elsewhere, a couple of good places to do so are Discord and Twitter. I'm also now on Threads and Blue Sky, so pick your poison when it comes to vertically scrolling, text-focused social media apps, and I am there either at Schwahn or at Schwahn_. Let me know. Also, we do stream on Twitch, and I would love to see you there. If you enjoyed this video, please leave it a like. If you want to catch future videos, please subscribe to the channel. Do watch one of the other videos on the channel, or if I see you in the live stream, thank you and enjoy.